Hare Krishna devotees, welcome to today's Bhagavad Gita class. We'll start with the prayers. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So I have shared my screen. We have been going through the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Almost we have completed 50% of the second chapter, where Krishna talked about what is spirit soul. And after that, Krishna is telling about Bhakti Yoga or Buddhi Yoga. So far we have seen knowledge about the self, who we are as spirit soul. So just knowing that I am not this body, I am spirit soul, that is not sufficient. So the second part of Bhagavad Gita, second chapter, Krishna is telling that after knowing that I am not this body, how one is supposed to act. Simply knowledge is not enough. How one has to act based on that knowledge. So that is the second section or second part of this chapter of Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna is telling about Buddhi Yoga or Bhakti Yoga. So why this Buddhi Yoga refers to Bhakti Yoga? That is because in the following chapters, that is chapter 10. In the chapter 10, Krishna talks about this Buddhi Yoga. Dadami Buddhi Yogam tam yena mam upayanti te. Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam. Dadami Buddhi Yogam tam yena mam upayanti te. So those who are constantly engaged in Krishna's service, satata yuktanam. And bhajatam, those who are rendering service to Krishna, priti purvakam, with love and affection. So those who are constantly engaged in Krishna's service, so he gives them this Buddhi Yoga, Dadami Buddhi Yogam tam, yena mam upayantite, by which they can come to me. So this Buddhi Yoga, the link is in the 10th chapter, where it refers to constant engagement in Krishna's service. That refers to Buddhi Yoga. So the same Buddhi Yoga Krishna has described briefly in the second chapter. That so far I have declared unto you analytical knowledge of Sankhya philosophy. Now listen to the knowledge of yoga, whereby one works without fruitive results. So this Buddhi Yoga means working without fruitive results. So results are offered to Krishna. Work is not stopped. Work continues. But formerly, the intention of work was to enjoy the result of that work in terms of different fruits. And when one realizes that he is not this body, he is spirit soul, and having the relationship with Krishna, then the action continues, but the consciousness changes, and one does not work for enjoying the result, but one works for offering that result to Krishna. So that description follows from shloka number 39 onwards. So this shloka, last class, we have covered almost 2 paragraphs we have already covered. So we'll continue from the next paragraph of this purport. So Arjuna had already accepted Krishna as his spiritual master. We saw it in the second chapter itself. Shishyasteham shadhimam tvam prapannam. So after that, Krishna started instructing him. And now Krishna is going to tell him about Buddhi Yoga or Karma Yoga. In other words, the practice of devotional service only for the sense gratification of the Lord. So ordinary karma means one works for satisfying one's own senses. Karma yoga or bhakti yoga or this buddhi yoga means one works for satisfying Krishna's senses. And this is explained in the 10th chapter, what is which buddhi yoga. So this buddhi yoga, how this buddhi comes, Krishna says in that 10th chapter, Dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayantite. So I give the intelligence by which the person comes to me. So from the intelligence comes? So intelligence comes from the Paramatma who is seated in everybody's heart. Ordinarily, somebody who is not a devotee, so he gets his intelligence according to his karma. What kind of karma he has performed and what kind of result he is supposed to enjoy or suffer. So he gets that kind of intelligence. But ultimately it is supplied by Paramatma only according to one's karmic reaction. But when one becomes a devotee, then Krishna personally gives him the guidance, the instruction by which he can come back to him, means he can get liberated and return back to the spiritual world. So that kind of intelligence Krishna gives. Ordinarily, the intelligence given is how to enjoy in this material world. Everybody is thinking of that one only. But when one becomes a devotee, then Krishna starts giving him the intelligence by which he can return to him. So such intelligence is possible only by performing devotional service. Without devotional service, one cannot get the intelligence by which he can get liberated or he can go back to the spiritual world. So the criteria for getting this kind of intelligence from the Paramatma within the heart is that Tesham Satata Yuktanam Bhajatam Priti Purvakam. With love and devotion, constantly when one is engaged in Krishna's service, then he gets this intelligence from within his heart from Paramatma. So one who is situated in loving devotional service to the Lord, he attains to this stage of Krishna consciousness or the stage of Buddhi Yoga by the special grace of the Lord. So this is possible not by our endeavors, but by the mercy of Krishna. When Krishna sees that we are sincerely trying to serve him, progress in Krishna consciousness, then by his mercy, one can get to this state of Krishna consciousness or this Buddhi Yoga state. Therefore, Krishna says that only those who are engaged in devotional service out of transcendental love does he award the pure knowledge of devotion in love. In that way, the devotee can reach him easily in the ever blissful kingdom of God. Now, this Buddhi Yoga mentioned here and the word Sankhya Yoga mentioned here, it has got no connection with the atheistic Sankhya philosophy, which we discussed in our last class also, that originally this Sankhya philosophy was spoken by Kapila Deva, who was incarnation of Krishna, born from Devahuti. But later on, there was one more impostor whose name was also Kapila, and he was an atheist, and he also written some books called Sankhya Yoga, but he talks only about matter and how this matter is functioning, different laws which are governing. Similar to the modern scientist, they come up with different theories of laws of nature, what are the different laws, and they come up with their own idea. Although they have no explanation that who is the lawmaker. No, if there is a law, that means there must be a lawmaker. How this law has come into existence. There are different laws of gravity, magnetism, then chemical reactions. So this world is functioning by so many laws. So many laws are governing all our activities, universal movements, from tiny living entity up to the universal bodies, different planetary systems, everything. They are all governed by some laws. There is some organization, some system. So they have no idea that how this things have come into existence. So they gave their own concocted, unprovable theories. So this atheist Kapila was also similar to them, and he has given some Sankhya philosophy. But that Sankhya and this Sankhya, what is described here, they are totally different. So here it is analytical study of the soul. And Krishna is not referring to this atheist Kapila when he is talking about this Sankhya philosophy here. Therefore, one should understand that Buddhi Yoga means to work in Krishna consciousness in the full bliss and knowledge of devotional service. And one who works for the satisfaction of the Lord only, however difficult such work may be, is working under the principles of Buddhi Yoga and finds himself always in transcendental bliss. So, devotional service does not mean that very easy life, everything will be very easy. Krishna will take care of everything, and just I will sit and relax and I will just enjoy. So, devotional service does not mean that. One has to work for Krishna, and sometimes if that work is difficult, still one should not hesitate in rendering service to Krishna. So the best example is the situation of Arjuna here, where he is finding it difficult to fight this battle because he has to kill his own relatives, his teacher, his grandfather, his family members. So it may appear very, very difficult for him. But because that is order of Krishna, it is done for Krishna's satisfaction. Such work is called Buddhi Yoga. We may not have such difficult situations like Arjuna where one has to kill his own family members. But still we may find sometimes in our devotional service, due to our own anarthas, we may find sometimes some services difficult. But one must continue his work, his devotional service, however difficult it may be, under these principles of Buddhi Yoga. And if one does so, then ultimately he will find himself very, very blissful in rendering service of the Lord. By such transcendental engagement, one achieves all transcendental qualities automatically by the grace of the Lord. And thus his liberation is complete in itself without his making extraneous endeavor to acquire knowledge. So if one engages in Krishna consciousness or Krishna's service, sincere, dedicated service, then all the good qualities automatically develop in that person. One does not have to endeavor to develop good qualities in him. There are 26 qualities which are described of a pure devotee. And all those qualities gradually develop in a practicing devotee as he continues to render devotional service. And that is possible by the grace of the Lord. And in that way, one goes closer and closer to getting liberated from this material bondage. And he doesn't have to make extra endeavor for this. Just by engaging in Krishna's service, gradually one becomes liberated. Also, he receives knowledge from within also. Krishna also enlightens the devotee from within. Apart from the knowledge what we receive by reading books, by devotee association, by hearing lectures, Krishna also enlightens the devotee from within. One does not have to make extra endeavor for acquiring knowledge. All knowledge is supplied by Krishna, that is this buddhi. As one sincerely engages in Krishna's service, automatically he gets liberated. There is much difference between work in Krishna consciousness and work for fruitive results, especially in the matter of sense gratification for achieving results in terms of family or mental happiness. Buddhi Yoga is therefore the transcendental quality of the work that we perform. Externally, it may look like a devotee and a normal ordinary person who is working for personal sense gratification. They are working and they're looking almost like same. Devotee also may go outside to do this job and come, or he has some business. So externally, everything may look similar to any ordinary person who is working only for satisfying his senses, his family, society, like that. But there is a vast difference. There's a vast difference in terms of consciousness of the person. And this is no, the transcendental quality. Externally, it may look same, but the quality of the work is different. So one is working for developing his Krishna consciousness, offering the results of his work to Krishna. Another person is simply trying to satisfy his own senses. So this transcendental quality of the work that we perform, that is called Buddhi Yoga. Next, Krishna tells about what happens in this kind of devotional service or Buddhi Yoga. Even a little endeavor performed in this devotional service or Buddhi Yoga can give us permanent result and can save us from great dangers. Neha Vikrama Nashosti Prattavayo na vidyate Swalpamapi asya dharmasya prayate mahto bhayat. So in this endeavor, na iha abhikrama nashaha asti. So there is no nasha or there is no loss in this endeavor. In devotional service, nothing gets wasted. Pratyavayo na vidyate. And nothing diminishes. Whatever you have performed, it remains eternally with us. Swalpamapi asya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. Even a little progress in this path can save one from greatest type of danger. Translation: in this endeavor, there is no loss or diminution, and a little advancement on this path can protect one from the most dangerous type of fear. But activity in Krishna consciousness or acting for the benefit of Krishna without expectation of sense gratification is the highest transcendental quality of work. Even a small beginning of such activity finds no impediment, nor can that small beginning be lost at any stage. So materially, if we are doing something, unless we achieve success, we don't get the result of that. Suppose a student is studying and if he doesn't complete his degree, then he will not get the result of that 1 year it gets wasted. If he did not pass the exam, his 1 year is gone. Again, he has to write the exam. And only when he clears the exam, then he can go for either higher studies or the job. Or suppose we construct a house, we cannot live in a half constructed house. A house should be fully constructed. So materially, anything we do, if it is not fully completed, so we cannot get the full result of that. But this Krishna consciousness, even a little endeavor we do, that carries the permanent credit. One more example we can see. Suppose at the time of death, in my bank, there is 1 crore rupees in my bank account. But when I take another birth, I cannot say that that 1 crore should carry forward. When I'm taking my next birth, my opening balance should be 1 crore. So whatever was there with that body, it ends with that body. Whatever I earned, when the body ends, all my earnings, they become zero. The soul goes with empty credits. I cannot carry my bank balance or my degree or my relationships or any material achievements. I cannot carry to the next life. It ends with my current life. But in Krishna consciousness, a devotee can either attain perfection and go back to the spiritual world, or even if he has not attained perfection, whatever he made advancement, he carries that with him. And next life, he again doesn't have to start from zero. Whatever advancement he made, so next life, he continues from that point. So his Krishna consciousness, what was accumulated, it carries along with the soul. It goes along with the soul because it is advancement is on the spiritual platform. Other things, they were on material platform, on the bodily platform. When the body ends, all things that were connected with the body, they also end. But Krishna consciousness is development of our consciousness, and it goes along with the soul. It doesn't get destroyed with the destruction of the body. So there is example of Ajamila in Bhagavatam. So he was performing devotional service in his younger days. But later on, he falls down due to bad association, and almost he lives rest of his life till end of old age, up to the point of death. So he was completely forgotten Krishna, and uh, he had gone to the extent of committing lot of sinful activities. But still, whatever uh, devotional service he had performed earlier in his younger days, so Krishna remembered that, and he gave him a good uh, intelligence that he kept his last son's name as Narayana. And he would call Narayana, his son, affectionately many times. Narayana, come here. Narayana, eat this food. Sit here. So that way, he was always calling his son's name. And because the name is, the name of the Lord, uh, unconsciously, he was chanting Krishna's name. It's called chanting with offenses. But still, even offensive chanting also will relieve us from sinful reactions. So whatever he had done in his early days, little devotional service he did. So that created a permanent credit for him. And it so happened that when he was dying, Yamadutas came to take him because he had performed so much of sinful activities. He had to be taken to the Yamaloka for giving punishment. But in that helpless state, he loudly chants Narayana very loudly. In the helpless state, he chants. And immediately Vishnu Dutas appear, and they forbid these Yamadutas from taking him to the Yamaloka, to the hellish planets. So this is the example of Swalpamapi asya dharmasya prayate mahato bhayat. Here Prabhupada is mentioning 1% done in Krishna consciousness bears permanent results. Even if I did 1%, that 1% is a permanent result. It stays with me forever. So that next beginning is from the point of 2%. Whereas in the metal activity, without 100% success, there is no profit. Krishna consciousness, even 1% comes with me. And material activities, I don't get any profit till 100%. Even if I achieve 100% in this life, when I quit this body and go to the next body, again I have to start from zero only. So that is the big difference between Krishna conscious activities and material activities. Also, in the Bhagavatam also, Narad Muni says this, Tyaktva swadharmam charanambujam harer bhajanna pakvotha patet tato yadi yatra kva va bhadram abhudamushya kim ko vartha apto abhajatam swadharmata. This is in connection with Narad Muni instructing Vyasadeva to write this Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavata Purana, and directly instructing people for taking up devotional service. Because all other literature, whatever Vyasadeva had written, different Vedas, Puranas, Upanishads and all, he had not directly glorified Krishna and devotional service, and he was not directly uh, calling people to take up devotional service, giving up all other engagement. So Narad Muni tells him that that's why you are not happy, because Vyasdeva was, even after compiling so many Vedic literature, his intention was he wanted to do good for the people of Kali Yuga, because he foresaw that in the age of Kali, people will be short-lived, their memory will be short, bodily strength will be not so much, they'll be misfortunate, unfortunate, they'll be unfortunate, they'll not be able to follow a lot of rules and regulations, and they'll be misguided by so many people in Kali Yuga in the name of religion. So he wanted to do good for the people of Kali Yuga. So he thought that if these Vedic literatures are not recorded, then everything will be lost because memory will be very less. So let me write it down. So far, it was not in a written format. It was heard from Guru and disciple. Therefore, it is called Shruti, heard from spiritual master to the disciple. So he decided that let me compile all this knowledge, Vedic knowledge, in the form of different Vedas, Puranas, Upanishads, and Vedanta. So his intention was for doing good for the people of Kali Yuga. So despite doing this kind of work, because generally when we do good for something, somebody, we feel some kind of internal satisfaction. When we help somebody, we do good to others, we feel kind of satisfaction. But here, Vyasadeva, even after doing so much of hard work and compiling everything, still he was not feeling satisfied. So at that time, Narad Muni comes and tells him that the cause of your dissatisfaction is that you have not exclusively glorified Krishna. Here and there, you have just given some information about Krishna consciousness, but by and large, you have encouraged people to perform fruitive activities. You do this, you will get this. You do this, you will get this. So if you want this, you do this. This kind of information you have given. And even in Upanishads and Vedanta Sutra, you have not exclusively glorified Krishna, his form, his activities, pastimes. So this is the cause of your dissatisfaction. So now you write one literature which exclusively describes Krishna, his pastimes, his different incarnations, and directly calls people to surrender to him and engage in his devotional service. So you write that literature. So at that time, Narada Muni says, suppose you are asking people that you give up everything and just surrender to Krishna. So they have to give up their swadharma, tyaktva swadharmam, and they have to surrender at the lotus feet of Krishna, charanambujam harir. And it so happens that the person could not continue devotional service. And later on, he falls down and goes back to his old ways. And suppose he does for say 3 years, 4 years, he gives up everything, engages in Krishna's service. And later on, he falls down and he wants to again go back to his old habits. Uh, so sometimes it may so happen that the person has lost his peak period of his career or his life, his good amount of years have gone into Krishna's service, and later on he wants to go back and engage in mental activities. So it may appear like no, he lost his peak time. He lost. Now he's not able to enjoy materially also. So here Narad Muni says that even if a person takes to Krishna consciousness, gives up everything, surrenders to Krishna, but bhajan na pakvota patet tato yadi. So he falls down, but his because his bhajan was not pakva, it did not fructify fully. Before that only he fell down. Even if that happens, yatra kva va abhadram abhud amushyakim. So there is no abhadra. Actually, there is no loss for him. He did not lose anything. On the other hand, Kovartha apto abhajatam swadharmataha. One person, he did not surrender to Krishna. He is doing all his godly duties very nicely, everything, pakka. But he is not surrendered to Krishna. He is not engaged in Krishna's service, devotional service. Actually, he does not gain anything. Whatever he gained, it will be lost at death. Again, he will become zero. But this person who gave up everything and engaged in Krishna's service, even if he falls down, whatever he has done, that is his permanent credit. So he asks Vyasadeva to inspire everybody to take up devotional service without waiting for this gradual process of dharma, artha, kama, and then moksha. That is what he has written in other literature. You follow dharma, then with that you satisfy your senses. You get artha, you get resources, you get money by following dharma, and then you satisfy all your desires. And once you are fed up, with all these desires, then you desire for liberation. So that is a gradual process. It takes many, many lifetimes. So Vasudeva had described such things. So, and he was not satisfied. And Narad Muni asked him that you directly give them this Krishna consciousness. They don't have to undergo this gradual process of dharma, artha, kama, moksha. Immediately they can surrender to Krishna, give up everything, and just take to Krishna consciousness. There will be no loss, even if they fall down uh, without completing their journey. There is no loss for them. Whatever they could do, that is a permanent asset for them. If someone gives up self-gratificatory pursuits and works in Krishna consciousness and then falls down on account of not completing his work, what loss is there on his part? And what can one gain if one performs his material activities perfectly? Just like Christians say, what profiteth a man if he gain the whole world yet suffers the loss of his eternal soul? So, material activities and their results end with the body, but work in Krishna consciousness carries the person again to Krishna consciousness, even after the loss of the body. At least one is sure to have a chance in the next life of being born again as a human being, either in a family of a great cultured Brahmana or in a rich aristocratic family. That will give one further chance for elevation. That is the unique quality of work done in Krishna consciousness. So, a devotee, either he completes his journey and goes back to the spiritual world, even if he does not complete his next life, human life is guaranteed. And that too, that life will be in a either in a rich family or in a cultured Brahmin family or in a devotee's family. That Krishna tells in the further chapters. What happens to an unsuccessful yogi? Arjuna asked this question that what happens to an unsuccessful yogi? He lost this way also, that way also. He could not enjoy materially, and in spiritual life also he fell down. So he was unsuccessful. So what happens to an unsuccessful yogi? So for that Krishna answers, Prapya Punyakritam Lokan Ushitva Shashvatim Sama Shuchinam Shrimatam Gehe Yoga Brashto Vijayate. So somebody who has done very little devotional service, such a person, he goes to the heavenly planets and enjoys material life there for almost very long duration, almost eternity. Shashvatim Sama. And after that, he comes back to the earth planet and takes birth in the family of Shuchinam or Srimatam Gehe. Shuchi means those who are highly cultured, clean Brahmanas, and Srimatam means those who are rich aristocratic families, either rich merchants or Kshatriyas. So he takes birth in such families. But this is one class who had done very little advancement. Another class of people who made very good advancement, uh, but could not complete. Some who could not complete. Great advancement they did, but some who could not complete in one life. Such people, they take birth in the family of devotees. Athava yoginam eva kule bhavati janma dhimata. So yoginam kule. So they take birth in the house of a yogi or a devotee, so that immediately they can again continue. Somebody who did very little, he goes and again starts enjoying material life, and then he comes in the family of Brahmanas or rich family. But there are chances that again he may drift away because of this opulence and all. But a person who made good amount of advancement, he never loses the connection with the devotees. Immediately his next life again takes birth in the house of devotees and continue where he has left. So either we do little advancement or we do greater advancement or we completely finish this business of uh, liberation and go back to the spiritual world. So devotional service in no way there is loss. It is always a profit. Either I do little or I do great advancement or I complete and go back to the spiritual world. In all cases, it is profit only. There is no loss. Another thing is that one is guaranteed to get a human form of life. Even a little devotional service, if somebody has done, he is guaranteed to get a human form of life. Others, there is no guarantee that they will be again born as human beings because of the abominable activities what they have done. They may have to take birth as lower species. So this is the unique quality of work done in Krishna consciousness. Even a little devotional service we do, little chanting we have done, little some services we have done to Krishna, or we have done some arati, some offerings we have done. So all these things, nothing will go in waste. If we continue to do this and develop our Krishna consciousness, we will go back. And if we made great advancement, could not complete, we will again get a chance immediately after this birth to take birth in the life of a devotee. And we did very little, then again engaged in our worldly activities. Still, we will go to heavenly planets, enjoy there for many, many years, and then again take birth in a good families. So, in this way, there is no loss or diminution in devotional service. Swalpamapyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. At least one will not become a lower species. Next, Krishna says, व्यवसायात्मिक बुद्धिर एकेह गुरुनंदन बहुशाखाय अनंताश्च बुद्धयो अव्यवसायिनाम. So those who are on this path of devotional service or buddhi yoga, are resolute in their purpose and their aim is one. So this shows their that how their intelligence is one pointed. They don't get diverted in anything else. So vyavasayatmika buddhi ekeha kurunandana bahushakhahi anantascha buddhayo avyavasayinam. And those who are not in this path, their intelligence is many branched. So it is not one pointed, it is not focused, it is not single pointed. They have so many desires and their all energy gets diluted in fulfilling all these different desires. So they don't have a one fixed intelligence. But a strong faith in Krishna consciousness that one should be elevated to the highest perfection of life is called Vyavasayatmika intelligence. So what is this Vyavasayatmika intelligence, Vyavasayatmika buddhi? Means a strong faith in Krishna consciousness that one should be elevated to the highest perfection of life. So in one life, I must attain perfection. So such a resolute determination is called Vyavasayatmika buddhi. In Chaitanya Charitamrita it is said, Shraddha Shabde Vishwasa Kahe Sudrida Nishchaya Krishna Bhakti Kaile Sarva Karma Kritahaya. So what is this faith? What is this Shraddha? So the Shraddha means Vishwasa, Shabde Vishwasa, Sudrida Nishchaya. So having unflinching trust in something sublime. When one is engaged in the duties of Krishna consciousness, he need not act in relationship to the material world with obligations to family traditions, humanity, or nationality. Fruitive activities are the engagement of one's reactions from past good or bad deeds. When one is awake in Krishna consciousness, he need no longer endeavor for good results in his activities. So generally, there are a lot of obligations, family traditions, humanity, nation, so many duties. A person has got so many duties. We will see it in the future verses also in the 3rd chapter. Deva Rishi Bhutaptan Ranam Pitrinam. So we have got obligations to Devatas, Rishis, other living entities, family members, our forefathers. So there are different obligations to a human being. But when one engages in Krishna consciousness, he need not act in any of these obligations. So generally we act based on our past fruitive reactions, whatever we have done. But when one awakens to Krishna consciousness, he does not have to endeavor for good results in his activities. He doesn't have to work for attaining good results. He has to just perform his duty and depend on Krishna for the results. When one is situated in Krishna consciousness, all activities are on the absolute plane, for they are no longer subject to dualities like good and bad. Any activity done in Krishna consciousness, it is nothing like this is good, this is bad. It is absolute. Everything done in Krishna consciousness is always good. So there is no duality like this is good, this is bad in devotional service. The highest perfection of Krishna consciousness is renunciation of the material conception of life. This state is automatically achieved by progressive Krishna consciousness. The resolute purpose of a person in Krishna consciousness is based on knowledge. Vasudeva Sarvamiti Samahatma Sudurlabha, by which one comes to know perfectly that Vasudeva or Krishna is the root of all manifested causes. As water on roof of a tree, root of the tree is automatically distributed to the leaves and branches, in Krishna consciousness, one can render the highest service to everyone, namely self, family, society, country, humanity, etc. If Krishna is satisfied by one's action, then everyone will be satisfied. So here, this wonderful example of which is given in the Vedic literature, Yatha Taror Mula Nishichanena Tripyanti Yat Skanda Bhujopashakha Pranopaharat Yathendriyanam Tatha Achyuta Ijaha. So how if I have to nourish a tree, I have to just water its roots. If I have to nourish a body, just I have to supply food to the stomach. Similarly, if one engages in Krishna's service, everyone else gets satisfied. So one may think that tree is so big, we have to take care of the tree, so many leaves are there, so many fruits are there, so many branches are there. How can I take care of this tree? Individually I have to take care of each leaf, each branch, each fruit. No, that is not the process of nourishing a tree. So the nourishing of tree is very simple, that you just water the root of the tree. Then there is a mechanism that water will go and it will help the tree absorb different nutrients from the earth. And there is an internal mechanism how to supply that to the whole tree. And the whole tree, even up to the tip of the leaf, it gets the nourishment. Similarly, if I have to take care of this body, just I have to supply food to my stomach. I don't have to worry about how my this finger will be taken care, how my this leg will be taken care, how my this limb, that limb inside heart, how that will be taken care. You don't have to worry at all. All system is already there. Just I have to put food into my mouth and supply it to the stomach. Then there is a whole mechanism that how that food gets digested and get distributed to all organs, all cells, they get the nourishment. So similarly, serving Krishna is the simple way of satisfying everybody else. If you are engaged in Krishna's service, automatically through Krishna, everybody gets satisfied. So this intelligence is called Vyavasayatmika Buddhi, that I don't have to run after so many things, satisfying so many people. Just if I engage in Krishna's service, gradually I will see that everything is done. Whatever I am supposed to do, all my duties are fulfilled just by engaging in Krishna's service. But such service is best practiced under the able guidance of a spiritual master who is a bona fide representative of Krishna, who knows the nature of the student and who can guide him to act in Krishna consciousness. So such service has to be rendered not independently according to our own whims, whimsically, whatever I like, I will do Krishna's service. No, that is not the right process. It has to be done under the guidance of a spiritual master. Therefore, it is described that Adav Guruvashrayam, first thing one has to do is take shelter of a bona fide spiritual master and inquire from him submissively. Sadharma Pracha. Sadhu Marganugamanam. One has to follow in the footsteps of great devotees. So this is the process of executing Krishna consciousness, taking shelter of a guru, understanding from him what is Krishna consciousness, following the path of great devotees, Mahajanas. As such, to be well versed in Krishna consciousness, one has to act firmly and obey the representative of Krishna, and one should accept the instruction of the bona fide spiritual master as one's mission in life. So this Srila Prabhupada quotes many times, and Prabhupada also says that this was his inspiration to go to America for preaching. That one has to take the instruction of the bona fide spiritual master as one's mission in life. Mission means all our activities are targeted towards that one mission. So what should be the mission of our life? Our mission of life is what instruction we have received from the spiritual master. That becomes our mission of life. And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur also instructs us in his Gurvashtakam prayers that Yasya Prasadat Bhagavad Prasado, Yasya Aprasadat Nagati Kutopi. By satisfying the spiritual master, we can satisfy Krishna. By getting his mercy, by getting the mercy of Guru, we can get the mercy of Krishna. And if we dissatisfy the spiritual master, if the Guru is dissatisfied with us, then there is no way we can get the mercy of Krishna. Yasya aprasadat na gati kutopi. So dhyayam stuvam stasya yashastri sandhyam vande guru Shri Charanaravindam. By the satisfaction of the spiritual master, the Supreme Personality of Godhead becomes satisfied. And by not satisfying the spiritual master, there is no chance of being promoted to the plane of Krishna consciousness. So our progress in Krishna consciousness depends on spiritual master being pleased with our service. If the spiritual master is pleased with our service, we make faster progress in Krishna consciousness. Otherwise, we cannot make progress in Krishna consciousness. I should therefore meditate and pray for his mercy 3 times a day and offer my respectful obeisances unto him, my spiritual master. The whole process, however, depends on perfect knowledge of the soul beyond the conception of the body, not theoretically but practically, when there is no longer chance for sense gratification manifested in fruitive activities. One who is not firmly fixed in mind is diverted by various types of fruitive acts. So one can act with this kind of resolute determination, vyavasayatmika buddhi, when he has got this perfect knowledge of the soul beyond this body. Not only theoretically, but also practically, one should try to realize that how he is not this body, he is the spirit soul. When this knowledge is there, then this resolute determination is possible to come. Otherwise, one will be always, his energy will be divided into so many material things. Okay, it's 8 o'clock. We will stop here. I have just created some worksheet. I'll share it, and we'll see what we have learned today. Some small exercise so that we can remember these things. Hope you are able to see the screen. So you can unmute and answer this. So Bhagavad Gita 2.39.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, we can see it. Thank you.
So this 2.39 marks a transition from analytical knowledge of the soul to what? By which one can become free from the bondage of work. Till this 39, Krishna was talking about Sankhya Yoga, analytical study. And from this verse onwards, Krishna talks about what?
Bhakti Yoga?
Yeah, Buddhi Yoga. There Krishna mentioned it as Buddhi Yoga. Esha te avita Sankhya Buddhi Yogam Imam Shrunu. So that is Buddhi Yoga or Bhakti Yoga. Both are synonyms. Okay, can somebody say in your own words, what does Buddhi Yoga mean? What is this Buddhi Yoga?
It's Hare Krishna Prabhu. It's work performed for the pleasure of Krishna without any fruitive desire, without being attached to the result. Done purely for the love of the Lord.
Yes, very good. Next. According to Bhagavad Gita, what is spiritual progress? ABC is there. So which one is right in this? What is spiritual progress? Lost if incomplete, preserved permanently, useful only in old age.
Preserved permanently, B.
Yeah. So any progress done in Krishna consciousness is permanently preserved. It doesn't get lost. And this is not only for old age. In Bhagavatam, Prahlad Maharaj says that from 6 years age, one should practice devotional service. Okay. Next we have, what does Swalpamapi teach us about a small beginning in devotional service? we discussed Swalpamapi Asya, even a small endeavor in devotional service. So what we saw it about this in purport, even little advancement in Krishna consciousness or even a small beginning.
It
Even
says
if
it
you
is
do a
never
little
lost.
bit of devotional service, it will not go waste.
Yeah. It is a
Prayate
permanent
mahato
action.
bhayat. Like biggest danger is of not getting this human form of life again once we leave this body. So with this, even if we do a small endeavor, we can continue in our next life. It is not lost.
Yes. And what is that saving from greatest danger? Mahato bhayat. Trayate mahato bhayat.
Not taking the human form.
Yeah. Going into lower species is the greatest danger for the soul because there is no chance of developing God consciousness in other form of life. Only human form of life one can develop God consciousness. So it is a very fearful situation for the soul to enter in lower species. So by doing even a little devotional service, one is guaranteed to get a human form of life. Okay. So any one difference between Vyavasayatmaka Buddhi and Baushaka Buddhi? So Vyavasayatmaka Buddhi is that resolute determination, one-pointed determination. And what is Bahushaka?
Vyavasayatmika buddhi is to be disciplined, determined in only following Krishna consciousness. And if not that, it is like serving Maya, Bahushaka.
Yeah, Bahushaka, so many material desires and running after them. So there is no resolute determination for attaining Krishna consciousness. Okay. So this watering the root of tree and serving Krishna. So what is this comparison?
Worshipping demigod, rather than worshipping demigod, we should completely worship Lord Sri Krishna, Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Yeah, no need to worship so many other demigods and even humanity, nationality, all those things. Just by serving Krishna, everything else will be taken care. Okay, now something practical. One responsibility I already performed that I can consciously offer to Krishna, something which I am doing every day. Some devotional service which we are engaged every day, which we offer to Krishna.
Chanting
Cooking for
every
the
day.
Lord.
Yeah, chanting is one thing. Any other
Cooking for
things?
the Lord, cleaning the
Yeah.
altar, doing
Yes.
Sringara for the Lord, and
Yes.
then cleaning, doing all our other, whatever we do, we should do as an offering unto Krishna. Yat karoshi, yat ashnasi, yat juhoshi, dadasi, yat. Everything we do, we should do as an offering unto Krishna. Then everything
Yeah.
will become Krishna conscious.
Okay. And some distractions in day-to-day life, which is detrimental for our devotional progress. No, that is many branched. We are supposed to have a one-pointed no determination, intelligence. But because we are practicing devotees, so we may have a lot of distractions. So anybody can share the distractions which they face in their day-to-day life, which is detrimental for their progress in Krishna consciousness.
To get angry, Prabhu, we get angry when things don't go about the proper way. That is like an impediment in our
Okay.
devotional service.
Yeah.
And to expect,
Unnecessarily.
yes, Prabhu, we have expectation, no? We go out of our way doing things for our children and we expect them to listen to us. When they don't listen, we get worked up and we get angry. And that is also because of that, again, we cannot chant properly. We're not at peace, all that.
Yeah. Yeah. Anybody else? Any distractions which takes us away from Krishna consciousness? Mobile phones,
Food which is not offered to Krishna.
food which is not offered to Krishna. There may be situations where I'm not able to get prasadam. Okay, yeah.
And it is very difficult to control our mind, Prabhu. When we are chanting, also mind is going here and there always.
Hmm.
Difficult to control. Bring it under control.
Yeah, inattentiveness in our service. Yeah, so all those things we should try to improvise. Okay, so we'll end our session here. Next week we will see the next shlokas, 42 onwards. Thank you all for joining. We'll again connect in our next session. Vishwa Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Thank
Thank you
you,
so
Prabhu. Hare
much.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Thank you.